So, let me ask you something. What would you do for $250,000? Like, really do?
Well, for a bunch of people just trying to do their grocery shopping, the answer to that question got very real very fast. The challenge. Deceptively simple. All you had to do was be the very last person to leave the store. But listen, this isn't really a story about who can wait the longest. Nope. This is a story about how you build a society from the ground up and then how you watch it completely fall apart. It's fascinating. And right away, you could see the split. You had people like this one recent grad with no job who were just all in. Their attitude was, I'll stay as long as it takes. But then you had folks with jobs, with families, a much tougher choice for them. And honestly, a whole bunch of people just said, you know what? Free groceries, filled up a cart, and bailed. Can't blame them.
All right, so once the initial wave of people left, that's when the real game started. Now it wasn't just about surviving. It was about figuring out how to live with each other. And you know what's wild? Out of all that initial chaos, you started to see the first hints of a real community. I mean, it is shocking how fast people formed little tribes. It was like watching civilization speedrun itself. You had Fort Freezy locking down the meat section, smart move. The Dream Team, basically the ultimate boys club, claimed the milk aisle. Another group went for privacy, holing up in the manager's office. And then there were the innovators over in produce. And get this, one of their members was pregnant. And these weren't just people sitting around. Oh no, the creativity was off the charts. They were building makeshift showers with store hoses, making little gyms out of water jugs. They even turned the shelves into bunk beds. Life inside got this weird, almost normal rhythm. Families would even come by and just wave to them through the glass. So surreal. But let's be real, all this kumbaya stuff, it's not gonna last when there's $250,000 at stake. It was only a matter of time before that cozy community feeling started to sour and turn into straight-up psychological warfare.
And the breakdown happened step by step. It started with something small, almost petty, on day 5, someone popping an air mattress. But that was just the beginning. That one little act snowballed into organized sleep deprivation tactics, a wild plan to steal a basketball, and finally, a huge conspiracy over who stole the cooking burners. It got ugly fast.
So where did it all start? Well, a lot of it points back to one guy, Xavier. Another contestant said it best. We had some people think it was cute to come by and pop a hole in a floaty. Pure anarchy on the sales floor. And that's exactly what it was. That one little act of sabotage, it was like throwing a match in a tinderbox.
Xavier's next move, though, that was pure strategy. He looked around and asked, what's the one thing keeping morale up in here? It was a basketball hoop, so he stole the ball. But it wasn't just about stealing it. His plan was to hide it and pin the blame on someone else. Just pure, calculated chaos.
But there was a wrench in his plan. A contestant named Autumn actually saw him do it, and she told everybody. Now, you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong. This is where Xavier's mind games went to another level. He twisted the whole thing around. I mean, listen to his own words. It's not the fact that they hate Autumn because she lied. It's the fact that I have them hating her because she told the truth. Wow. He literally made the group hate the person who told the truth. Genius and terrifying. Okay, so the other groups finally realized they couldn't just sit back. They had to fight fire with fire. So they cooked up this incredibly elaborate scheme to take Xavier down. First, they create a fake top 10 ceremony as a total distraction. While that's happening, one guy sneaks off and steals almost all the cooking burners. And then, the final move, they managed to pin the whole thing on Xavier. It was a perfectly executed act of social revenge. So, just when everyone thought they finally had the rules of this little world figured out, the creator, Mr. Beast himself, steps in, and he basically becomes this unpredictable force of nature ready to just change everything. The game was about to get a whole lot weirder.
His first move? He hands one of the contestants $50,000. But here's the twist. It's not for him to keep. Nope. He has to use that money to try and convince other people to leave. Suddenly, everyone had to ask themselves, okay, what's my price? How much is this worth to me?
And then this mysterious red button appears. The choice was simple. Press it, and the game gets harder. And you know, they couldn't resist the challenge. They voted yes, and bam. The consequences were instant, and they were brutal. That button literally drew a red line down the middle of the store, splitting their world in half. If you were on one side, you had sunlight, you had showers, you had space. But on the other side, total darkness. You had to wash yourself with Coke Zero, no bathrooms, just a tiny cramped space. I mean, the difficulty level just went through the roof.
All right, so after all that conflict, all that hardship, the game was about to get turned on its head one final time. And this last twist, it changed everything they thought they knew about how to win.
You see, the few people left, the survivors of all that chaos, they reached this weird kind of truce. They'd been through the fire together, and it's like they came out the other side as friends. They were playing games, celebrating birthdays. The war was basically over. They just settled into a routine. Their whole mindset had changed. It wasn't about beating each other anymore. It was just about outlasting the game itself. One of them even said, "I guess we can sit here forever. We're just gonna wait till Mr. Beast comes back." Think about that. They were ready to stick it out for years, if that's what it took. And just to remind you, for months, this was the number, $250,000. That was the whole point of all the fighting, the backstabbing, the misery. And then he came back, and he didn't just raise the stakes, he quadrupled them. All of a sudden, we're not talking about $250,000 anymore. We're talking about $1 million. But it wasn't just about the money. He gave them a massive choice. He said, look, you can keep doing what you're doing, this brutal last-to-leave game, or you can switch to a totally new challenge. As a team, your new mission, should you choose to accept it, eat everything in this entire freshly restocked store. I mean, just think about this deal. The prize jumps to $1 million. The goal is now something you do together, and all the suffering, it's over. He's offering them a gym, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, real beds, showers. He basically turned their prison into a luxury resort. So what's the big takeaway from all this? The whole game, from the very beginning, was engineered to make people turn on each other, to break them apart. But the biggest prize, the ultimate prize, wasn't something you could win by yourself. You could only get it if you came together. It really makes you think, right? In a game designed to break people apart, what happens when the only way to win is to put the pieces back together?